3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody, to Peer Review. We have MMA Fighter on with us today. Max Bradley. Nice to have you on, man.
Good. I'm glad for the invite.
Yeah, dude. I think it was
for reaching out.
I'm so excited about this.
When we first started our podcast, started doing videos. I know, one of our first ideas was dude, we gotta get Max on here, man. We gotta, his story is awesome, and just definitely one of those things. The for sure's we gotta have you on in the beginning and share your story.
No, I appreciate it. It's sweet that you guys are doing this.
Yeah. We're coming along, getting better and better as we go, but
each episode it seems like we're just flowing a little better and more just
evolving.
Yeah.
Right. Hell yeah. That's awesome.
So, I wanted to ask, a couple questions about why you started fighting and because not everyone's, it's when someone says they're, a fighter, there's not too many people that do it, and it's and for someone to actually do it and stick with it, that takes a lot of work, and it's interesting. It's a very interesting topic, and I'm glad we get to talk about it today. So, give us a little background. Why you started, how you got started, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess honestly, with fighting, I think it's something that you have to be born with it. You just have to be. It's people that you see in the gym aren't always going to be fighters, or people that are there to get in shape or maybe self-defense if they have to do it, but they're not doing it to compete.
Yeah.
So there's a small percentage, and it's a small community.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't even really explain to what made me want to get into it. It was just more of just a natural thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by you got to be born with it, because you get directed in that way naturally.
Was there ever a time, because when everyone's at a point in their life when they're younger and everyone's kind of got a little more frisky, everyone's fighting in high school or college or whatever. Right. Was there ever a moment kind of in that time, or maybe shortly after, where you're I'm gonna go train and kind of see how it goes, or was it I'm gonna go train because I think I really want to fight, this is or did you test the waters?
No, just how I am with anything I do. I have to compete. It can be anything.
Right, there we
anything.
Go. Yep.
You name it.
For sure.
I can make a better snowball than you. I don't care. I'm going to prove it, too. That's just how I am.
Well,
so it's yeah.
Well, that makes sense. You're not going to just put on gloves to look cool.
It was... Yeah, before I started, it was I remember looking in the mirror all the time and picturing who I was gonna beat up at school if I had to, or how the scenario. It was always a scenario. I had it in my head. I knew how it was gonna. I don't know. It was just always something I think about, and I still think about it. And it's first thing I think of, and the last thing I think of before I go to bed. It's just.
Dude, those are real thoughts of people that achieve great shit. You look at anyone that was dedicated or has done something great. They talk about that. It's I don't know, man. He's born with it. I think about it all the time. I have scenarios going on in my head. You walk into a coffee shop. That dude, I don't know, man. If it were to happen, this is how I do it.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, honestly, it's it's crazy.
Where did you first started training? Where was your first training?
So originally it was at the academy in Elk River, Minnesota.
Yep.
So that was cool and everything, and then it just kind of got expensive and whatnot, so I just tried an alternative, went to a smaller gym, and that was in Cambridge, and then I went to St. Cloud. Moving around, I think it kind of helps because you get to know different types of coaching, you know what I mean, and what works for you, because you really have to find you may I had a gym that I left, and there was kind of hard feelings because I left, but it just wasn't working out for me, you know what I mean?
Right.
So you really have to figure that out. And then I ended up at Start BJJ in St. Cloud. Yep. And that's where most of my fighting is from and under. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. How so then that time span of jumping around and I shouldn't say jumping around, but going finding the right gym for you.
Yep.
How long did that take really? Was it you knew right away kind of, or is it
I always gave it a chance for sure.
A week?
No,
a month?
No,
a couple months.
6 months to a year for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I was training a lot longer before I started fighting. I trained like a good solid 5 years before I even started fighting.
5 years.
Yeah.
For your first.
It wasn't even like, and I can't even explain why. I think it was just because I couldn't find the fit in the gym that I wanted to be in, to surround myself, or like to take advice from people, fighters, because there's always fighters in a gym, you know what I mean? And I just couldn't find that right fit where it's like, is this what I want to do? Like, is this what I'm going to do? So, I don't know. I can't really explain why it took so long, but.
No, I mean, it took so long because you're looking for the right people to
It's
surround
the thing,
yourself with.
Right, and that's exactly what it is. It just wasn't, it didn't feel natural. Like, I don't know if I want to have these guys in my back, in my corner.
Yeah.
And that's really,
what it came down to.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So, like, anyone listening, like, maybe they're going to the gym or they're thinking about doing that, fighting. What advice for finding the right gym? Like, what are some things that you kind of, just the vibe of the people, or like the style of fighting, like.
No, I think that, yeah, definitely. Just I don't know. I think you feel it right when you walk in, right when you open the door, because that's the hardest part, is showing up, fucking opening that door,
going every day.
Anybody can say I train and do this, but not even ever do it.
Yep.
They just want to really bad. But that's the biggest step. So once you do that and open the door, and if it doesn't feel right away, it's just a gut feeling. It's weird. And then if you still got to stick it out. You paid for it already or whatever, but just the people that are training, like whether you vibe off of them, like will we be friends type of deal.
Yeah.
Because that's,
well, you have my
it
back,
kind of turns into a family,
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. So if you've been training for 5 years, and I know you've been fighting for a few years, man, how many years do you have in it?
Altogether, it's been about 8 years.
Awesome.
Of just solid training. Yeah. I mean, the first half of it was like wintertime training, because I'd get laid off, so I'd train all winter.
Yep.
And then work all summer. So it wasn't like full dedication, but for like the last 3 years, it's been full dedication.
Yeah.
So, besides Corona. Damn you.
Dude.
Damn you.
Damn you.
I feel like everyone has that same feeling.
If I ever meet her, I'll kill her.
Take her out.
How do we know it's a girl? We can't be gender specific nowadays.
Yeah, Corona, I don't
Dangerous,
know.
dude.
They're Yeah, no, I'm not even going to make a comment about that.
Feels like a bitch.
But no, yeah. Corona definitely put the brakes on everything. I had big plans for 2021.
So when you say like full-time training and stuff, when did you make that switch, or like how did that transition even work? Like going from, having a job to training after, work or before work, or
yep.
How what did that look like?
So
with the 9 to 5 or whatever, and then transitioning.
So I was doing lawn care for 5-6 years, and that's when I started training. And that was in Zimmerman, and I was training in St. Cloud. So I was working 14 hours in the sun and then driving.
Jeez.
One way, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Just to get there and then come home, sleep, wake up, do it all over. So that was kind of the sacrifice of driving there and back, And then I was like, I just need to make this work, get a job where I'm training, so I can get off work and just go train. Save the time of driving, yada yada. And where was I going with this? What was the question originally?
It was just kind of like how that transition, like
full time. Yeah. So sorry. So then so I started dating this great girl, and she's like is just my rock. She was a big support. Jenny Crandall, shout out. But so she supported me big time, and then I got a ton of sponsors that were supporting me. So I kind of was able to just kick the job and train full time. And
with the sponsors, like did you go and reach out with the purpose of like wanting to go full time? That's why you're reaching out to them, and like, hey, this is my story, and these are my goals. Pretty much.
A lot of them, a lot of it, sadly, is social media, whether you have a following, yada yada. But they do want to hear your story, and if it matches up and you feel, that seems like the right match, then they'll take a risk on you and see what happens. But
dude,
I think everything with me was just meant to be, and it was all just a plan.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to. I think it was a lot easier for me than it is for most. It just like fell into place.
Things happen like blessed. That though. Yeah.
It's just weird how it happens. It was It's crazy. It's super crazy.
Do you mind? So you said it like it. Yes, the social media it matters, like the following and everything. But you said the story is important, and that comes down with everything. And like sales, your relationships, the story like matters. So could you share the story that you tell your promoters? Like, or is that
that's a long long
one? How about
you pretty much the key is to, it's not about what you want, it's about what you can give them, what benefits them. That's all they care about. Just keep telling them things that you can do for them. With me, it was a bunch of different things because I could put logos on shorts, banners, shirts, all over. So they loved that. That's the exposure.
Yeah.
Give them all the exposure you can possibly think of, and just go through it. Go through
walk
it.
them through the process of like how this works for you.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's trial and error. You just have to put yourself out there, and you know, a lot of people are like, "Yeah, right. Who are you? Like, what? Who the hell are you? Nobody knows who you are. Yada yada." So yeah, but that's the best way to learn. It's just putting yourself out there, maybe looking like a jackass for a little while, but you learn from it.
I mean, that also builds your character too. Like you learn from it, and
and people are harsh nowadays. Like, there was times where I was sitting all day talking to business owners. That's all I was doing, over the phone, webcam, whatever, just to get a sponsor. And you definitely build up like thicker skin for sure.
Yeah.
You can.
I can only imagine. Like some dude just thinking like, I'm ripping this kid, thinking he can take away.
right. Yeah. So.
Jeez.
For
you get any of them? If you can beat me, you can get the sponsor.
Right. All right, bro, where you at? I'm coming to. Yeah.
But, no, it's fun. It's super fun, and getting the sponsor motivates you because that's just another person that's on your side, in your corner, you know. So it kind of pushes you, you know. Knowing that someone's like investing in you is the biggest thing. It's just like, oh yeah, doing something right.
For sure. When you have a fight coming up, and you know you lock in, the dates are locked in, and you know now, what does a training schedule usually look like for you? From when you wake up to when you go to bed?
So, well, typically it's just you're always thinking about weight cut, and that's the biggest. That's the fight, honestly.
And what's your weight again? For like the weight that you fight, and then.
So yeah, I walk around 172. I cut at 155, and typically that's not a big cut. That's like a lot of people say, "Oh, it's not that bad," but that shit sucks.
Yeah, dude.
I don't care. It sucks. It's terrible. So once you can get through that and you weigh in, then it's just fun time after that.
A lot of that more like training to cut the weight, or is that like like a diet thing that you...
Yeah, to like get back to what you were saying, like that's like you have to train smart, you know, because you don't really necessarily have all the energy you would typically because you're cutting out so much food, and you know what I mean. Your nutrition isn't all there, but you still have to train hard, obviously. So it would be 2 days of jiu-jitsu, 2 days of striking, and then 2 days of sparring, and that would lead all the way up to the fight. And then I'd slowly start backing off of like sparring, more combat stuff, just to stay healthy.
Yep.
And then
stay away from injuries and
hitting the sauna. Yeah, weight cut sucks. That's for sure.
What's the hardest food to get rid of for you? Like, what's your go-to if you're like cutting?
While I'm cutting?
Yeah.
Those rice cakes.
Yeah.
Things are the best. Yeah, they're light, like literally.
Yeah.
And they're like made of nothing, so.
Yum.
I'll like the day of like fight, before I weigh in, I mean, I'll take the biggest scoop of peanut butter and just savor that for the whole road trip or whatever it may be, like a lollipop, literally.
Oh man,
it's terrible. And then after that, I'm spitting all the way.
Dude, I did not like spitting at all. Like I thought it was terrible because it made me like dehydrated. My mouth was dry, and I was I just want more water now. Like,
well, no, what I would do is I would suck on a mint.
Yeah.
Multiple mints because you're going through them so fast, but that would automatically make your mouth water. So, key.
My buddy's like, just try gum or try whatever. And
gum, yeah.
I was like, no, dude, I literally want
to get water weight out.
Is that like the human body supposedly has up to 20 pounds of water weight? So if you dehydrate yourself, that's easy 20 pounds without having to starve yourself.
So that's something you're like doing like the entire time. You're like
You're starting to slowly
the
cut back
entire
on
process.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. It's not like something you do like.
No,
You're not gonna get
no.
rid of like weight really quick doing that, is it?
I mean, it depends on how. I mean, you can go super hardcore with it, and
So if you go through like 3 packs of Altoids a day, is that like 6 pounds or something?
yeah, I don't know about that.
That's
I
not
haven't
usually
tested
what I
it.
do. Maybe next fight. Jeez. Is there like when you're cutting weight? Is there a time where, like even with the water cutting, like is there a point like a couple of days? Because I remember like wrestling, like we would cut weight and you'd slowly cut back on everything, but it wasn't until like 2 days or something or 3 days you'd really get like really start to cut everything off.
Yeah.
And watch your body just disappear.
For real. No, yeah, you kind of hit like a wall almost. It's just like your body when it's there. It's like I'm right around there at 153, and people tell me to cut to 145. I'm like, I don't think I can go that any further than 153.
Dude.
But it's like have you ever heard of that like runner's wall or runner's
Yeah.
track wall or whatever it's called? You just gotta go. You gotta get through it.
Yep.
And so I've definitely felt that with weight cutting. It's terrible.
And I don't think anyone understands. Like you don't forget it, but you totally take it for granted when you come back. Like when you, like after you've cut it, you just totally like, oh, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
but like when you're in it, you're
right,
like, this,
right.
I'm never doing this again. This is so bad. Like, why am I doing this again?
It's like a hangover. Seriously, you wake up, you're like, God, I'm never drinking again.
But it's prolonged. It's so like,
I know.
it's a test of like mental strength too.
It
and
is,
dude.
man. It is. There's a lot of sacrifice and mental strength, definitely, and mental conditioning.
Would you say that's like one of the key factors of being, a professional athlete?
Just
Anything.
an athlete and everything, yeah. Or a professional in anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Just your
What
mental
you guys
health.
are doing.
Yeah.
That's how I know
Everything.
I'm not an athlete.
Yeah. You gotta have a sense of dedication for sure. With just success, just to have success.
We talked about the crappy things like cutting weight, but what's your favorite part about fighting?
Probably the people I meet, honestly. All the different connections I make, and yeah, I think the fans. It's just like I'm not even that big in the game yet, but to say fans is like super cool.
Absolutely.
And
a fan
just
is a
hear 'em
fan.
freaking out and screaming, like things
Yeah.
like that, really makes it all worth it for sure. And then to just get that W is like there's no better feeling in the world.
Do you think the fact that it's such like an intense thing that you're doing, it's like easier to get closer to the people that you're doing it with than like if you were out hanging out with like friends? Like if you just met like a new friend, would it be easier to get closer to somebody because you're doing this thing like in that aspect than it would be
Just being better with talking to people, you mean?
just
better
like closer
people?
overall? Like
Like, are you closer with your buddies that you fight with, or your
yeah,
friends?
like
Yeah, I mean,
exactly like that.
So like if they already had a background of like fighting or was like interested in fighting.
Well, I mean, like,
or is this someone complete like a stranger?
so like if me and you didn't know each other and we were just out hanging out and you're like, that's a cool dude, I'm gonna hang out with him sometime, but it had nothing to do with fighting. Is it easier for you to get closer to like that kind of person, or is it easier like faster getting closer to somebody that you just met and like, okay, I'm gonna be sparring with this person now?
Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of stumped on that one, honestly. I think it kind of goes both ways. It all depends.
I guess probably on the person that you're hanging out with. Like you'd be like, he's cool, but he's also a dick.
Yeah, exactly. It all kind of depends. It's kind of a tough one for sure.
But
That's a good question.
for sure, there's definitely a bond in anything that you do. Like if you're sharing the same interests with somebody, way easier to connect with them.
Right.
Versus
like more like
if
like
I
a
already
like
knew
a
they
fear
were-
bond. Like when people go through something like crazy and like they're with
Oh.
somebody they're not exactly like they don't know, but then at the end of it they're like, I'm glad it was you there, and now like for the rest of your life you're like super close.
I kind of see what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one though. For sure.
I suppose you're probably not moving through too many people like that. You know what I mean? It's probably a pretty tight knit like group of people, and you're like in it.
Yeah, it
You know,
is. And like in Minnesota in general, the MMA community is pretty small.
Okay.
It really is. It's
you're not moving through, like there's not a lot of turnover, because you probably, like at this point, you're probably not gonna see too many people that are like new coming and
right,
yeah.
exactly. That would be a lot. I think if we were going like to a different country or something, I flew in to fight and like ran into some fans or something. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
I guess it's kind of a tough one to answer.
With your fights, which one was like the hardest for you? When it can be because of the cut. It could have been because of the actual physical fight. Like, what was like the most difficult fight for you so far?
Well, I take a lot of short notice fights because it's just how it's planned out.
What you gotta do?
Yeah. So, I think my hardest was my second fight because it took the most to get out of his submission.
Yeah.
It was literally getting choked for 2 minutes. Everybody thought I was going to tap. I was barely there. I honestly was barely there. And that's the most difficult time I've had in a fight, like, that I remember. So
what are you thinking when you're just like inches from nothing?
I don't even know. Just thinking that I can get out of it. That's all it is. You just there's a way out of this. There's a way out. There is a way out.
Yeah, that's a different mindset that I would have. I'd be like, well, this is it. See you later, folks.
I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
But the shitty thing with that fight was he ended up submitting me in a different submission like 15 seconds later because I was so out of it by the time I got out of it. It was just like, what? No, not again. Not again.
Dude, I remember there was a tournament in Zimmerman when we were wrestling in high school. Dude, there was and one of the guys I was wrestling, dude, he was so good at his single leg takedowns. And what his little signature move was is he'd get his single leg and he'd bring it up and he'd just kick out the leg and he'd follow, get his two, let you stand up again.
Okay.
But his intensity and like his level was just insane. I remember thinking that thing where it was like, all right, this time I got him, and then like it would get me again. I'm like, dude, he was getting so bad. I was like, because I'd like I'd come out of it like, you know, you just got slammed on the ground,
right?
And you're like, what? And
I was dazed.
Like, boom, another one. I'm like, oh, I'm getting mad now. And again, dude, he picked me up so much.
Yeah, your eyeballs are going different directions. He's good.
Yeah,
we're good.
It was so, he tagged me, dude. I was like, by the time like I looked at the scoreboard, I'm like, dude.
Yeah, it was a rough ride.
It was one of the worst rides I've ever had, dude.
By the time you get to look at the scoreboard with both eyeballs.
Dude, I will never forget that, though. And I was like, I kept my eyes on that dude the rest of the season, and he ended up taking first in state. So I was like,
well,
I don't feel as bad.
Exactly.
Like,
that's a plus.
I got my ass kicked by a professional.
Exactly.
So.
That's a plus. That's definitely a plus.
But yeah, I remember that ride, and I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go.
It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
So you got an opportunity to sit down on the sim racing rig.
That was awesome.
It was a good time.
That was the first time too. And I've always wanted to do it. I wish it was manual. That's okay.
That's okay. You're more skilled than others, perhaps. You're more adept to shifting gears in a vehicle.
For sure.
If it was manual, you would have definitely beaten Bemis by at least 14 seconds, but that's okay.
Well, that's what we kind of wanted to do, was make it a level,
approachable,
field.
So everybody could come at it.
it.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over your race. We'll talk about it. Maybe make a little bit of fun.
Yeah, there'll be a time or two, I'm sure.
Got a little cranked.
Well, you made it around the first corner. That's good.
Yep.
Off to a good start.
What did you think of the racing sim? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
A little deep.
I liked it. It was...
Took a trip to the beach there.
Yep.
No, it was a lot more...
in depth,
like accurate too, with how you turned, how sharp you were turning, how hard you were braking. Was the car front wheel drive?
No, it's rear wheel. It's
it's the traction control. I wish that you could turn the traction control off.
Yeah, we can set you up afterwards with it off, and you can see what
it.
Oh yeah, 100%. You can fully adjust everything, brake balance, like traction control.
That's kind of how I'm driving. That's how
you're expecting the back end to
exactly.
So like. The problem with this game is like when you do that, the steering wheel, like the angle of degree that rotates to compared to the game, it's so far off that it's like once you're like full lock in the game, you're not full lock in the steering wheel. So you add another revolution on the steering wheel, and then you're like,
you're too far.
it's too far gone.
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
I can't control this anymore.
It's pretty intense though. Like I wish we could upgrade our seat where it would move you.
I know, right. That
with,
would be sweet.
With the car, like on
We
corners.
can eventually we can do that because Amazon, they have the cheapest one on there.
Hey, Black Friday's coming up.
It's like $2,000 for the motion platform. That's not bad for like. I mean, imagine putting people in that.
Hey
thing.
guys, you want to donate?
Yeah, donate. We should make a GoFundMe for GoFundMe for the racing rig.
Throw in a new office chair for me.
Yeah.
Oh,
little bit of contact.
Get out of my way.
It's a classic move. Classic move.
That's my signature move right there.
I grew up racing dirt bikes, so you got to play rough sometimes to get past it.
Robin's racing.
I didn't know that. You grew up riding on two wheels?
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's
District
a touchy
23.
subject for this one over here.
Man, here we go.
There's a video on the internet of him right now that falling on his ass on a 450.
It's only touchy for his tailbone.
Yeah,
dude.
Oh man.
So you crossed the line with a 109.4, which
And
is
in front of the mother.
anything under 110 is a really respectable time for
Yes.
somebody that comes in and hasn't done it before. Like that's super
respectable.
good.
I think it would be even easier if I have driven on a track, like a real track in person. You know what I mean? And then go hit the simulator.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, so that's another issue. Like coming into this is not knowing the track.
Right. Oh yeah, that
Like
too,
and
I
not
suppose.
knowing the
Right.
nuances of the track itself. So like for everybody to come in, like that's a really good fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Yeah, it was fun.
109.3 is
10
Cam's, and yours is 109.4. So you are just below
So-
Cam and just above Matt.
You get to place yourself on the board there.
Alright.
Beautiful green tape.
So I'm gonna
Smudge the time.
He said he was competitive, so just flips the board upside down. Look at him in second.
coming in hot.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you had the opportunity, which most people don't, to go on quite the traveling experience. You want to dive into that and tell us about it?
For sure. So, I mean, so with fighting and everything, that was always something I was thinking about. But you have to work, obviously, for a living. And I was doing tile at the time and didn't necessarily like it. You know, it's kind of tough work. And then I had to be up at 3:45 in the morning every day to get there on time. So with all those miles I was putting in, getting to work, I just kept thinking, like, I would rather put these miles on a road I've never driven on.
Yep.
So I quit my job, and 4 days later I took a trip completely unplanned with no destination, and it ended up being 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
It was just me and my dog. So yeah, it was just
It sounds like a
it
dream.
was just one of those things where I kept driving like I was going to take the exit to go to work, but just kept going instead.
No, wow.
I just kept it going. Ended up covering close to 12,000 miles and 17 states.
Wow. Where was your first place that you ended up at?
Colorado.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, respectively.
Did you
I was there for quite a while, actually.
just
one of those
5 months and then
Yeah, right. I was probably there longer than most other places,
That's
but
good. Dude, I love Colorado.
it's hard to not.
So-
it's awesome.
I have some family that have cottages and cabins I can
Yeah.
stay at down there, and
For
so
sure.
I go to stay down there sometimes, and you just can't. Driving into the valley,
The mountains,
we live
everything.
They have it in Estes Park, so you come into the valley, so you have to drive through the mountains, and then once you're in there, you're just surrounded by mountains, and when you
Right.
wake up in the morning, the sun's coming over the mountains, and it's like
I know.
you're on the streams and stuff. It's like, where am I? Well, this is insane. So
It just gives you like natural energy. It's crazy.
It's cool too. It gives you like a good perspective too. Like when you see a mountain, you don't like.
Yeah.
It's one weird thought that I always have when I see one. I'm like, that's huge, and
Right.
I'm like tiny. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's a weird thought
what I love about hiking and just feeling small is like, it's a good feeling, but it's a feeling you don't want to take. Like, I don't know. You have to really, you can like grow from it. You really can. It's crazy.
Like a perspective of.
Like I think it's more of like a respect.
Yeah, it really is.
You're not like, oh, I'm like I can't do anything kind of perspective. It's
right.
I should definitely just like take things like more.
Exactly. Yeah, and then just like knowing that there's such bigger problems than the little problems that you're dealing with that you think are so big.
Yeah, like your little
It's
bubble.
like yeah, exactly. It's just you need to get out and like meet some people, see some shit, like get out of the same town, like quit hearing the same things you're hearing from the same people over and over. Like, dude, it's nice to just get a break. But yeah, so I just kept driving and ended up just covering everything south and west of Minnesota, and I ended up intentionally I wanted to go to the Grand Canyon. That's one place I didn't even go. I'm really pissed about that. And I don't know what happened in the travel where I didn't go. And I don't know. It pisses me off thinking about it. But I just started thinking, like, as I'm driving, like, so where am I going to go? What am I going to do? You know, so I just started looking at people that I knew were in other states. So I was going to go stay with them for a few days, a week, whatever it turned into. And ended up in California where my brother was and a buddy from Washington. Where I'm originally from Washington State. That's where I was born. And so he lives out in California, so I met up with both of them and ended up covering the entire state of California because one lived at the southern point and the other lived at the northern point.
Yep.
So I drove the whole coastline up.
Dude.
And but no, that trip, like all in all, it was just a trip, like as cliche as it sounds, like out of a movie. It was really to find myself, because it was just like at a point in my life where I didn't know what I was doing, where I was going, where I should spend my time. You know, like it was like a pause in life. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? You know, and it was just like to clear my mind. I needed to just be by myself and just do my own thing, not worry about anybody else. And it really helped. And that's where it came the clarity of fighting. It was like, that is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, it was just a slap in the face. Like, you know what you're supposed to be doing.
A punch
like,
to the face.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, seriously, a kick to the face.
Yeah. It's just a hobo. Get out of my tent.
But no, yeah, that was the best time of my life for sure. But yeah, it gave me all the clarity of like what I was supposed to be doing with my life or whatever. The time, like, it was like the only thing that I know as a profession is fighting. It's the most I've spent on. It's the most time I've spent doing.
Yeah.
And it's like to think of that, to put that to waste, it's just like makes me want to cry. You know, it's just like,
man,
you know, so it's, yeah. And I was training, like I said, a few years before I started fighting. So I was training before I took the trip, but I just didn't know if like, is this what I'm going to be doing? Like, is this a career? Is this what I'm going to really be doing? How do I fucking get into it? So many questions, you know, and taking that trip really kind of like answered everything. It was kind of crazy, but I definitely needed it.
That's good, man. I wish more people would do that. Just to take time. I mean, it doesn't have to be 6 months.
Right.
It just more people to understand that there's more going on in the world than your bubble, and you know, if you are lost and you don't know what direction to go, which is very, very common for people, and dude, just break away. Just take some time. And
that was my thing. I just needed to take a break from the rat race where everyone just was like, you'd ask anybody, like, you haven't seen him in forever, what are you up to? Work. You know, it's just, that's all it ever was. It's like, man, I want to run in and be like, oh, what do you feel? I just got on fucking rock climbing this fucking cliff that dove off of it afterwards. Like, hell yeah, dude. Fucking show me the way. Like, I don't know. I needed more. Needed more in
life. That's good. Yeah. I know whenever, if I go up to, like, up north, if I get, like, go to Ely and, like, anything beyond that, or, like, I get a little feel of it, like, when I go to Duluth, there's some spots where you can get away in, like, Silver Bay and get up there, and that is enough for me sometimes to just kind of like bring me back into my like clarity, just
Yep.
feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
Or like I said, going to Colorado has the same effect. I don't know what it is. Like the temperature change,
It's the mountains,
the
man.
mountains,
It's
the
the mountains,
cliffs, the
I
rocks.
promise.
I don't know what it is, man,
That's
but
where
it's
I
something.
belong.
There's everyone. I encourage everyone to go and find that one thing that can just bring you back to the ground, you know. And
No, yeah. Ever since my trip, that's all I've been trying to promote, other than myself with fighting, but to promote to travel and to do things, go see things. Like we're so close. Like Michigan, for example. I just took a trip to Michigan with my new dog, and I couldn't believe what I saw. What I didn't know was there this whole time.
Mhm.
And it's just right, the next
Yeah.
state over, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like wow. So yeah, I always try to push for people to do that because it's good to have time alone too. If you get the chance to do it by yourself, a lot of people have kids and husbands and wives and all this, but that's why another great thing that I was in a spot where I was single, no kids. I had the time to do it.
you could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's not always everybody's case, but it doesn't need to be 6 months like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get out, go see something you've never seen, get lost. Like,
Dude, it could be a day, it could be a weekend, a week.
Mhm.
Like, hey, honey, watch the kids for a week. I'm leaving.
For real.
This weekend I'm gone. I took a week off of work, and this is what I'm doing. And yeah, it's doable.
You'll come back a better version of yourself for
Yeah.
sure.
Man, when you're on your traveling, so you said you stopped in Colorado and in California, and was there anything that you'd recommend someone going to? Because you saw a lot of stuff. Like, you're gone for 6 months. Like,
Yeah,
what's
I almost
something?
can't even remember everything.
That sounds good.
crazy,
Was there like
but-
a beach? Was there like hard
yeah.
times? Was there just nights where it was like, dude, this is rough? Was it times when you're driving where like, did I turn back yet, or do I keep going? Like
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure. I have a time in Utah, and it was all. I have it all on footage on GoPro. I had it sticking out of my backpack. We went and trying to find some canyon slots. You guys know what that is? In Utah, you ever heard they're like narrow little slot ways that are really tall. They're like two rocks that are split,
Split.
pretty much like two cliffs. And me and my dog Frank, we just got the sun went down and we just got lost. I kind of lost sense of direction of where we parked, and it was a 3.5 mile walk to the canyons. So I lost sense of direction 3 miles away from the car, and it was dark out.
Oh no!
Dude, we ran into a huge herd of cows, but I didn't know what
What?
they were at the time, so it was freaking me out. Like,
It's a herd of bears.
oh, dude, yeah, it was crazy. So yeah, I finally found out, like, know what they are, and they're like doing this number. I'm like, I was just like,
Yeah,
I was
you
like, I
can't
was
drop
thinking
a
about
cow.
it. I'm like, and then Frank's there too, and I'm like thinking about it, like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do a huge walk around. And I started walking, and I'm like, fuck that. I turned around, I go, rah! I just started yelling, rah! And they all start like running away, and I just run through them. And I finally found this road, and I happened to take a left, and I was like, there's some, I found powered cables, like
Yep. Power lines.
power lines. And so I just started following those, and I almost walked past my car because of how dark it was. I ended up finding my car.
Wow.
And then it ended up dropping. There's like a weird thing in Utah where it gets, it's typically pretty nice in Utah during the day, but at night in the canyons, it will drop to like negatives just immediately. It's like some mystery. And that happened to me. And my windows were all frosted over the whole 9 yards. I'm like, where the fuck? I thought I was in Utah.
Yeah, I'm not
Like,
Minnesota still, am I?
yeah. So 5 in the
travel.
morning, I woke up and I'm like, Frank, we're going to California. I get out of Minnesota for this. I left around this time, actually. It's been 4 years ago now. So, but yeah, I left to get out of that, and so yeah, just went straight to California from there, just to get into the better weather because it was so weird. It was just
Man.
I had the freedom to do it too,
Yeah.
or whatever. But that was definitely the most scariest kind of, I guess.
Yeah.
Just not knowing where I was or if I was ever gonna find my car. If
Right.
what was.
It's me and you, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, here we go.
Yeah, I could barely even see him. It was so dark, and he was like a white dog. So it was,
Wow.
yeah, it was crazy. I'm running, like you can, like in the watching the GoPro videos. It's so funny. I like turn it towards me as I'm running, like get out of here.
Everything's not okay, guys.
I'm like trying to tell like where I am, so like if anybody found the footage, they like knew. Like
That's what you.
like I don't know. I didn't know what to fucking do.
What do you do if you got lost? The GoPro's
I
with
know,
you. Like,
I know.
you can find me right here,
For all I know,
next to the GoPro
all
that
I
you
know.
just found.
For all I know, a hawk is gonna take my GoPro stick and just fly off with it.
This guy doesn't need this GoPro.
Yeah. Crazier things have happened.
That's good.
But no, that's definitely one of the most memorable moments.
Yeah.
Definitely. Getting lost in Utah.
Yeah.
But,
Glad you made it.
yeah. For real. Oh, yeah. We ran into this super crazy situation where I had to lift Frank up over onto this spot, like cliff type deal, because I wanted to see what was further ahead and get up there, and it was nothing. So I had to go bring him back down, and going down was a totally different story because of how tall it was. You know, it was as tall as me plus my head, and I can't just like throw him down. You know, I've got a 3-mile walk after that. He breaks a leg. Like fuck. So I'm like scaling this canyon slot. It's just a narrow little walkway, and we ended up sliding down it, falling to our, fell on our butts, whatever. But we had everything on GoPro, so that was just another cool little piece.
Wow.
And shortly after that is when I got lost.
Jeez,
So yeah,
dude.
it was fun though for sure.
Do you
Wow.
have, so
I'm
you
ready.
have all this footage, right?
Yeah, a lot of footage.
Have you made a film yet
No,
of
man,
this? What are
I
you
haven't
doing?
even thought about you guys doing it for me, honestly.
I'll do it tomorrow.
I was gonna send it in
Like,
to GoPro, honestly, just have him
Dude.
do it because it's so much. I don't even know
Dude.
where to start.
Let's
Yeah,
do it. I
we
will.
should
I
just
will
dig
I'd
through
be
all
honored
that.
to go through that, and
Yeah.
that's
It's
those.
some fun.
As long as I got some pointers, like, hey, when we get to this,
You're not gonna find
area,
any like
No,
don't watch
I-
this clip.
no,
This
it's
was
all-
supposed to
it's-
go to
no,
my
it's-
girlfriend.
No,
And
it's
it's
all
a-
a story.
when you get to the beach, stop watching.
Yeah, nude beach.
Yeah, nude
Yeah.
beach.
No, it was all a story. Everyone's open to watch it.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, let's do it. That sounds like
that's a great
that should
idea.
be a film, and you should narrate it as well.
That
Yeah.
would be cool.
So it should be like all the footage or everything, but you should almost be narrating it and like an interview, like you talking about the story and why you did it.
You can make like a documentary.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Not
There's
everyone-
a lot of weird times where I'm like watching a documentary. I'm like, man, I could probably put something together.
You could,
You could
you
totally
have the
do that.
content.
Yeah, exactly.
You went up
Ideas
There was
are
a time-
buzzing around up here
Dude,
already.
yeah.
I'm just like, let's do this.
Yeah, there was a time on the Oregon coast where I tried sticking the pole into the sand so I could walk out and like be on the beach and like show her and yada yada. And the waves came up, and I didn't think anything of it. I ran like behind this little rock. My stick's here. Come back to my thing. It's gone because the waves took it. Like no, I was so devastated. I almost thought about going home. Like I had all this footage on them. Like I was just so sad about it. Like I actually walked. The first couple that walked by me had no idea who they were. Nothing. I had to tell them. I was like so sad. I'm like, I just like spilled my heart up. Like I just lost my GoPro stick. All this footage. I'm not from around here. They're like, sorry. Like who the
Yeah, crazy hobo on the beach. Get away
I'm
from
sorry. I
this
just
guy.
had to tell somebody like I just such a big deal, and that they just like went on with their day or whatever. And I call my brother, and I'm like I walk up over this cliff on the beach, and I'm looking over it, just like trying to stare for it because it had a blue handle. I'm like, if I see this blue handle, and I'm talking to my brother, I'm like, dude, I lost my fucking GoPro in the ocean. And he's like, oh, you're never getting that fucker back. Like, just don't even, just get over it, you know. I'm talking to him like, dude, I found it. Fucking shut my phone off. I saw the handle sticking out a little bit, but it was like at the end of the shore where the water stops and then comes again.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to time it out right to run out there, you know what I mean? Run to the beach or the water or whatever and grab that fucker. And it was on. So the thing turned on while it was rumbling through all the water. So
Whoa.
watching the footage, it's really cool that it actually turned on while it was.
What?
Yeah, dude, it's super sweet. Like, yeah,
There's a
it's-
fish trying to catch some footage or something.
Yeah, yeah.
It
So
was
that,
those turtles from Nemo.
Yeah.
Dude.
Dude. Noggin.
GoPro.
so that's kind of cool too. So there's a bunch of different content on that for sure.
Wow. So you didn't have it recording, and you like put it down,
No.
and it was recording when you picked it up.
Yeah, because before I even got to hit record, I think I just shoved it in there, honestly.
Yeah.
walked out for a second to see what Frank was doing. I can't really remember, but I ended up having to run back right away and not thinking of like how far the water was coming up.
Yeah. Wow.
What are the chances to get your GoPro back from the ocean?
Right.
Like, it's
one of those things where like, I'm
like
never
one
going
in
to
a
find
million.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, that doesn't.
Dude.
Yeah, insane.
Wow.
It was meant to be though, because like I said, I was about to go home. I was about to just turn around. No, trips over.
Had enough.
Turn the bus around.
I've
The
had enough.
universe was like, spit that fucking GoPro back out.
Seriously.
This dude needs to find his thing, man.
Yeah.
Spit it out.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's cool.
No, yeah. Very.
How many beaches did you go to? Like, was there one that was better than the others? Some were pretty bad. Like,
I highly recommend Glass Beach. It's not one that you like chill on because it's full of glass,
no.
but it's like not sharp glass at all.
Great. All right.
It's from like back in like the 40s or something. They would dump glass off these cliffs,
What?
beer and like all this glass, and over time, they smoothed out and like kind of like polished themselves and turned into like
Whoa, where's this at?
pebbles, and it covers the whole beach. That's all it is, with these little pebbles of glass.
Whoa.
But it's all smooth. You can walk through it barefoot, whatever. That's pretty cool. And then
Where's that
pretty
at?
much any beach on the coast of California and Oregon.
Glass
Got it.
beaches in California.
There's the one. It's called Glass Beach.
Okay,
But I'm
there's
just saying, any single beach along the whole coastline.
Yeah, California's
Is
not a bad place.
golden.
I mean, like for a beach anyway. They usually do
Exactly.
it pretty good there. They know what
Yeah.
they're doing when it comes to beaches.
Right. Oregon, though, is awesome because you see all the arches out in the distance, the stone arches and whatnot. So.
Is it the redwoods in California?
Yep.
Did you ever stop there?
Yep. I spent the night there, mountain biked there because I brought my longboard, my skateboard, my bike. And I ended up hitting all different climates. Got to use my snowboard and everything.
Damn.
You snowboard
That's
too?
cool.
You have GoPro footage of that?
Oh,
dude?
yeah,
Oh
dude.
my gosh.
Dude, my
got the whole
dog.
thing.
I have my dog in front of me on mountain bike trails in Utah,
Yeah.
Moab, and then the same thing, but in Idaho, snowboarding, where he's either following me or in front of me, snowboarding down these hills.
Were you?
We would hike up.
Is your
I'd
dog
pick a mountain.
snowboarding? I'm just kidding.
No, that'd be sweet. But I'd pick a mountain and just hike up it.
Yep.
I'd go up halfway, camp, wake up, go to the top, and snowboard down.
Camp.
Yeah.
You camped in the mountain
Yeah, dude.
with your dog. With what tent?
It's
No
a
tent?
hammock.
Oh my gosh, this guy.
How did you have your dog with you? Did you put him in the hammock with you?
Yeah, dude. Yep.
He was cool.
Oh yeah, dude. He was the best dog in the world. He did pass away, so it's like super touchy, and I'm glad I got to take that trip with him
Yeah.
because he died at such a young age. But he was just so like universal. He would adapt.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
and it was
cool.
awesome.
Cool dog.
Yeah,
Dude,
hell
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Like naturally, it wasn't like I didn't have to train him on the bike or the snowboard or anything.
I think I got to meet him one time.
Yeah,
And then
he was a little celebrity for sure. For sure,
Was
everybody
it-
loved him.
Manny.
Frank, Manny's who I have now.
Okay.
That's-
Who's the Basset?
Oh, that's Manny too. Yeah, that was back.
I remember.
I named the dog I have now after that dog.
I got you.
Manny part 2.
I know. I wanted to name him Hank after Frank.
Yep.
But it was just too close.
I got it. Dude, you camped on the mountain and
Drove
stayed
across.
overnight.
Camped on the beach.
Drove
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you've done it all?
Sound like you've done it all.
Yeah,
You're gonna
no,
be
I
the
was,
next Dos Equis.
Dude, I was seriously just about to bring that up. Someone told me to be that for Halloween.
The
most
most
interesting
interesting
man
man in the world.
yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You definitely could. Definitely could.
Yeah, pretty much just made a loop around the West Coast and covered everything in between.
Cool. Cool.
But yeah, no, it was
Mhm.
definitely quite the adventure.
Traveling and, all over the state and country and staying in mountains and beaches and
My car a lot.
doing it all. Man, for 6 months, that's pretty cool. And then after that, you were saying that was kind of like after that was the moment where you found out like this is it. I'm fighting now, and this is the path I'm taking. So,
Yeah.
what did it look like after that? Like coming home from your trip, explain or go down in that road.
Yeah, so I guess it just was like naturally happened. The trip was over type deal. Like I'm going home now.
Yep.
But I knew during that whole time even during that. Okay, so my sister lived in the mountains in Idaho. And that's where I did.
Can I stop you quick?
Yeah.
I just wanted to cover a quick point. When did you know the trip was over? Like, what point were you like, all right, I think I got it?
Okay, so yeah, that's so my sister lived in Idaho at the time, and I got to stay with her a lot of the time. And she was deciding to go back home. And that's kind of where I was like, well, I guess maybe that's my time. Kind of, that's it. Because the whole trip was never planned.
Mm-hmm.
There was no destination. There was no timeline. There was no, when am I going home? It was just,
right.
I guess this is the time to go because she's going home. Why not go home?
Right.
I don't know. It was just kind of how it happened. And so I actually almost kidnapped my cousin who was currently living there. And he was just kind of unhappy, so I talked him into coming back home. So him and I took the road trip back home. But I knew what I was going to be doing, what I was going to do when I got home.
Yeah.
Because I was already doing it on the trip. I was already starting to train. I got a membership at a gym during the time I was at the last town I was in for like the longest point of time, Post Falls, Idaho. I paid for the day, each day. Because I was already just wanted to be physically ready when I got there. I wanted to start fighting.
Dude, that's
awesome. I just knew. I hung a tennis ball from the ceiling, and my sister would wake up for me hitting that thing and bouncing back off the ceiling, just getting my hand-eye coordination. And so yeah, I just knew what I was gonna do. I came home, started fighting, did exactly what I said I was gonna do. I built it fully custom, not custom, but my mom gave me her barn. I completely gutted it out, made it my gym, fully matted, heavy bags, everything. Ended up, the best I got was number 5 in Minnesota. Corona hit, and I fell into a finance manager job pretty much overnight.
Yeah.
Which is super crazy because that's like something you go to school for or something that you do. You're in sales for years and years at a time.
Mm-hmm. Just
to even get your foot in the door. So I feel really blessed about that. I just say that I was at the right time. Or I was at the right place at the right time. And so yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing ever since Corona is finance. Super weird.
When you say you're number 5, like what do you mean by that?
I got up to my best ranking as an active fighter.
Oh.
I was number 5 in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Dude, heck yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I had big plans for 2021, like I was saying. I was planning on going pro and really starting to launch this thing.
Yep.
But Corona and this and that, and yeah, one thing led to another. Now I'm a finance manager at Choice Auto in St. Cloud, Minnesota.
Ayo.
Shout out.
So, what are the next steps, I guess? I know you can't really foresee the future, but if everything were to go as planned, maybe things start to open back up within this new year, maybe things open back up. What do you have a game plan?
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I want to get this finance stuff down, and I think it's just the way my path is or whatever, it's all meant to be. The Corona kind of gave me time to learn this new, maybe call it plan B, I guess,
skill.
Because fighting is always the number one thing, is the dream,
Mm-hmm.
But it's giving me the time to learn the second backup, the plan where I can make it a career and make a bunch of money if I do it right.
Yep.
So it's giving me the time to learn that. So that's kind of my number one obligation right now. That's kind of my goal, is to learn that shit the back of my hand, get that down, and then just start fighting next year whenever. Hopefully, I'm gonna plan on early next year. Damn it! But Corona.
So for everyone that's watching and people that want to support you, dude, how would they do that?
Instagram, Facebook, Max Bradley _MMA.
Yeah.
That's where all highlights, everything goes on there. Got to please the sponsors.
For sure. For sure, man.
I feel bad for them now because of Corona, but I love you guys.
We'll be back. We're coming back. Fighting's coming back. We'll go back to what we do. So.
Yep. No, it's a lot of ups and downs, that's for sure. It's super unforgiving, the sport in general.
Yeah.
The highest highs and the lowest lows.
For sure.
That's for sure. Super hard to come back from a loss, but it's super motivating to get that W. So I definitely try to tell everybody, especially during your debut, you lose your debut, don't let that discourage you.
No, absolutely not.
It's just the hardest thing to get over.
Let it feel you. Let it like piss you off. Let it,
exactly.
Let that make you, have that be the reason why you train harder. And have that be the reason why the next person that's going to fight you or whatever your objective is going to be sorry because you have hell of a fire burning in you right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I was fortunate enough to win my debut, but I always try to tell people because it's you never. Most of the time, you don't see people come back is after a loss.
Yeah.
Most people are going to come back after a win. They have no reason not to.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's in everything, though. It's just like when you fall, get back up type deal. Don't be a bitch. Like
Rule number 1, don't be a bitch.
Seriously. But, hell yeah.
Well,
How did it feel? That was good.
how did it feel?
I thought it was
Felt
amazing.
Good.
Oh, that was a lot of fun.
That was great.
Do
It was a
you
great
want to
podcast.
Do you want to come back?
Dude, I do, honestly.
Yeah.
We'll have you back
Perfect.
anytime.
Hell yeah. No, yeah. I have plenty to talk about. We can go into detail, but that was just kind of an overview. You
Cool.
know? So,
For sure, we'll have it come back and dive into some topics, man. And
dude, hell yeah.
so,
Hopefully Corona will be closer to over by then.
heck yeah. So, if you guys like it, slap the subscribe button, smash a like, follow Max,
Hey.
give him some support, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Bye.
That was tight.
Hell
That was
yeah.
fun. Great podcast.
I say go.